one of the most contentious things that currently is in royal life. That is, of course, for many people, the removal of the former royals known as Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, from the royal website. You see, the royal website is there to showcase the good work of the charities involved by senior members of the British monarchy. But of course, it also details and lists the line of succession, the historical facts, all of that sort of stuff, visited by millions of people every single year for their information, planning trips, all about, when royal palaces are open, special events, that sort of stuff. But now, as one can imagine, after being branded, and dare I say this, the biggest losers in a brand new Hollywood list, well, you can understand why the team around the former royals known as Harry and Meghan see that this is quite now a viable factor. As ever, let me explain. Good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. By the way, behind me here is quite a famous apartment that was for a former British MP and was a regular visitor, or should I say the person who visited was none other than the Right Honourable Margaret Thatcher. Yes, a lot of champagne parties there, let me tell you. It's funny, isn't it? You wander past these places and think, wow, was that the place? Was that where it all really happened? Lots of movers and shakers and lots of big decisions have been made through those hallowed doors. And it was considered to be one of the most contemporary pieces of architecture when it opened about 30, 40 years ago now. It's funny how things look aged, don't they? What do you mean, me? Oh, I know. Oh, it's dark. There's no light. Give us a break. Good job there's no mirrors on this, isn't there? I can see you, Don't bother rubbing in the eye cream now. It's too late. Back as ever to your breaking roll story of the day. Now, as I said to you before, this is fascinating because, as we told you recently, and as ever we have to say allegedly, Harry and Meghan wanted in particular Meghan's picture to be updated onto the royal website. Apparently she didn't like that particular picture, wasn't representative of what she is and what she was or know who she is now. I think it's a perfectly acceptable picture. What exactly do you want? You're not necessarily doing anything for the British monarchy other than trying to trash it. But as you can imagine, as I say, fresh from being noted as British losers, or should I say Hollywood losers, by the Hollywood Bible, the Hollywood Reporter no less, which is really very damning, very, very difficult indeed to deal with. Now, here's the situation, whatever, now where it gets really tricky, because you see, Harry and Meghan have obviously clearly looked at this and thought, or their team at least, and thought, when you think about all those millions of unique visitors. Now, what you read when you see the piece about Harry and Meghan is basically about, some charitable work, all of that sort of stuff. Let me tell you, the duo wanted updated to reflect their current status, the things that they're most proud of, perhaps the Invictus Games, maybe even Meghan's podcast, who knows? But according to a very well-placed source, they wanted updated. Now, I think this would give the King, His Majesty the King, and perhaps other senior members the opportunity to perhaps relax, rest and remove said former duo of the royal family. But you just never know which way it's going to go. You see, the other side of the coin is, if you're going to use the royal website for that, then that is commercial value. If you were mentioning the podcast, or indeed, for instance, perhaps, archetypes or the films they're doing or something like that. I can't imagine what Harry and Meghan truly think they can add or put onto this website. But right now, this is the battle that you don't read about or hear about anywhere else, but exclusively here on this show first. And you could take both sides of the coin. You could say, well, the royal website are capitalizing on the use of the imagery of Harry and Meghan. That's right, but he is, of course, and she is, of course, a member of the British royal family. On the other side, concurrently, you could say, well, why should they allow their images to be exploited if they're not allowed to put up exactly what they're doing? It's an interesting topic, a huge debate, and it's currently ongoing right now. It'll be fascinating as ever how this plays out. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.